Okay, so for those of you that were on the last AMA call, this is going to be a little bit of review, but I like to start just to make sure we're all on the same page. And I like to talk about the marketing fundamentals real quick before we really get into everything. So my name's Tim Fitzpatrick. I am with Rialto Marketing. I am facilitating this workshop for SCORE Denver.
Shoot.
And just here to answer any of the marketing questions that you guys may have. So a couple ground rules. We are recording this. The recording will go to SCORE. I've muted everyone to keep things quiet. We can post questions in the chat. If I need to, I can certainly unmute and you can ask questions if you need to, and I will do my best to get through everybody's questions. So first thing, what is marketing? It's getting someone who has a need or a problem that you can solve to know, like, and trust you. We all do business with people we know, like, and trust. The job of our marketing is to warm people up to get to the point where we can actually have a conversation. Now, most people, I think, overcomplicate marketing, but marketing, it shouldn't be a challenge, but you need a plan. Okay, plans help eliminate confusion. And to me, marketing success is all about the fundamentals. You have to have the fundamentals in place first. They will lay the foundation for the rest of your marketing. If you skip the fundamentals, you are building a house without a foundation. Michael Jordan said, hey, get the fundamentals down and the level of everything you do will rise. It's the same in marketing as it is in basketball and as it is in everything else. The fundamentals do not change. And to me, the fundamentals of marketing are about knowing your target market. It is about having really good messaging that's going to be clear and engaging to that target market. And then you've got to have a system or a plan that you can follow. Now, these are the main marketing channels as far as I'm concerned. Most things will get plugged into one of these main marketing channels. First, you've got your strategy, then you've got your website. Offline marketing is networking or speaking in person. It could be direct mail or advertising in print publications. Those types of things are offline marketing. Then you've got content marketing, search engine optimization, social media, email marketing, and then pay-per-click advertising. If you focus on these, you can build an incredibly successful business in these channels. So that's it for me. Let's jump into some Q&A stuff. So if you guys have questions, go ahead and fire them. No sound. Hold on, Tanya.
I got it.
Okay, you got it. Cool. Okay, cool. I'm gonna mute you now. So if you guys have questions down on the bottom, just click the chat, type in your questions, and I will do my best to answer them as accurately as I possibly can. So take your time, fire in, and I'll just start answering questions. Somebody's got to have a question. Somebody start us off.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't have a chat option on my Zoom screen.
Okay, fire away then. What's your question, Tanya?
In the era that we're in, I feel like how do I learn about online things? It's just I'm kind of like, it's new to me. I have a marketing background, but I'm older. I don't know how to get into that. Do I need to hire a consultant? If you can speak to that. I don't.
Yeah. So you're not quite even sure where to start.
Right. Well, I have a placeholder with GoDaddy, I have a business registered and my name and all of that kind of stuff, but I haven't launched a product.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no website, you're just basically at ground zero.
Yep.
Okay. Do you know what you want to sell? Service, product?
Product.
Okay. What type of product?
And I feel like it's got to be online in our current environment, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of businesses are realizing the importance of having an online presence at this point because that is where a lot of business is being done.
Yeah.
Um, if you're starting just from the beginning, it's really going to go back to what I just talked about, which is nailing the marketing fundamentals. Okay, if you've got to understand your target market. Who are you trying to reach? Because you can't, if you try to reach everyone, you will reach no one.
Yep.
And if you try to reach everyone, it becomes really difficult to figure out how the hell I'm going to reach those people
Yes.
because you can go everywhere. And you can't do that without having a huge budget, right? And we're not Coke or, some huge national brand where we can just spend millions of dollars in marketing and blanket all kinds of different channels. So you've really got to understand who your target market is and who you're trying to reach. The most businesses will have 2 to 3 at the most ideal client types.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend you choose more than that. Just because you have 2 or 3, one, 2 or 3, doesn't mean you're not going to attract other people. It just means that those are the types of people that you are going to direct your marketing efforts towards. Okay. That will provide you with a lot of focus of, okay, I know who these people are. And once you understand them, then you can determine where are they?
Okay.
What are their needs? What are the problems that they're trying to solve? What are they looking for from a product or a service that you're offering? And once you understand them, you can start to determine, okay, well, where do these people congregate online, right?
I reach them. Yeah.
Yep. What Facebook groups are they in? What people do they follow online? Because then you can start to determine how to reach them and
Okay.
where they are. So once you understand your target market, then from there, you need to get into your messaging to that target market.
Okay. Okay.
And when we get into the messaging, we follow a storytelling framework to create messaging. And that storytelling framework looks at, it's a very common storytelling framework where you've got a main character or a hero in the story. They have a problem. They meet a guide. The guide gives them a plan that calls them to action so that they can avoid failure and reach success. Okay. And by the way, at the end of this, you guys can, the slide deck, the recording, I have a bunch of other tools. So all the stuff I'm mentioning right now, you'll have access to in a link. Okay. So what we're doing with that framework is we are inviting your customer, who is the hero in the story, where you are the guide. Why? Because the guide in every story is the one that has authority and credibility. Okay, your customer is not looking for a hero, they're looking for a guide that can get them from where they are to where they want to be. And so when you use this framework, you create your messaging, and every time that you need to create marketing messaging, you pull it from that framework. We call it a playbook. And what that playbook does is it makes sure that you are communicating the same message over and over again. Because if people hear a different message every time they come in contact with you, you are going to confuse them and you're going to lose them. We have very short attention spans. If we read a message and we don't understand it, we're not going to take the time to figure it out. We're moving on. So when you use a storytelling framework, it makes it really easy for people to understand. Stories are very engaging. We love stories, and that's why we use it. And it's super easy to use. There'll be a link. In that link, there's a bunch of resources to the storytelling framework in there. But that's how you'll create your messaging, and it works. And then from there, you've got to have a plan, right? What we recommend right now, especially with how quickly things are changing, is a 90-day marketing plan. And there'll be a link to that template in that folder as well. So, with a marketing plan, I think most people overcomplicate marketing plans. You may pay somebody to put a marketing plan together. It's this in-depth 20-page document. It's useless, right? It's like a business plan. Okay. Most people never use their business plans. Okay. What you need is something that's simple and easy to follow. And with a 90-day plan, what we recommend you do is, one, you need to understand your target market at a very minimum. You got to have an understanding, just a summary of who those people are. And then from there, you can get into what are your budget and your resources, because that's going to determine where you're going to focus, right? If you have a huge budget, you can focus on a lot of different things. But if you got a small budget, or no budget at all and just your time, that's going to impact what you can choose to focus on. And then from there, you're going to look at what you're here. Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. Okay, so you should see this. So this is just a simple 90-day marketing plan. You've got your target market. You've got to understand what your goal is. Okay, and I like to recommend, it's got to be measurable. Okay, but this goal, keep in mind, most SMART goals with specific, measurable, they're achievable, they're relevant, and they're time bound, are what we call outcome-based goals. The downside to outcome-based goals is there are a lot of things that you can't control in there. The only thing that you can control is the action that you take. So I don't like to have people get too caught up in this marketing goal, but you do need to have a goal set so that you can measure the effectiveness of your plan. Just know that an outcome-based goal, there are a lot of things beyond your control. Your marketing budget and your resources, because that's going to determine what you choose to focus on. What's your current marketing plan in these channels? Okay, and if you're not doing anything, that's okay. You just need to know where you're starting from in order to figure out how you're going to get to where you want to go. And then in the next 90 days, you just outline what you're going to focus on in each of these channels. You may only focus on one of these channels for the next 90 days, depending on your resources. And that's totally okay. But what this does is it at least gives you something that you can fall back on so that you don't get distracted by shiny objects. Because I get distracted by shiny objects all the time. I got to come back and look at, okay, no, this is what I need to focus on for the next 90 days. And then you're going to have metrics that you're going to track within each of these channels that you're going to focus on. The metrics, don't get bogged down. You don't need to track 10 different things. Just choose one or two important metrics that are going to give you an idea of whether what you're doing is gaining traction and effective or not. And then what you do is at the end of 90 days, you review everything, what worked, what didn't, make adjustments, and then do it all over again. Okay. Does that help, Tanya?
Yeah, it does. I'm having a problem with the Zoom, so I'll be anxious to get. Will you email or a link or something?
Yeah. What'll happen? I'll give you guys a link. It's actually it's rialtomarketing.com/AMA for Ask Me Anything, and you guys can just put in your name and email there, and you'll get all the docs.
RIALTO marketing.
RIALTO marketing.com.
Okay, thank you.
And then /AMA.
Got it.
Okay, we'll jump in. So next question I've got here is, what are the best marketing for ROI? Yeah, so this is a very loaded question because it really depends on where you're at with your marketing. A lot of people have tried different marketing channels, tactics, they didn't work. Just because they didn't work doesn't mean that they can't be effective channels, but oftentimes it comes back to the fundamentals were skipped, right? You either don't know your target market, you you don't have good messaging, right? Or you don't have a plan. Okay, typically that's what happens. But in general, what I will tell you, after you've nailed the fundamentals, you know your target market, you got a plan, you got good messaging, your website, you've got to have a website. Okay, there are still businesses that don't have websites, or they don't have good websites. You got to have a good website, especially in this current market where, I mean, your website outside of strategy, your website is the hub for your marketing. Everything that you do, whether it's online or offline, is driving traffic back to your website. And if your website does not have good messaging, it doesn't tell people, you know, a good story, you don't have a clear call to action, you're gonna lose business because of that. So the first thing I would do after strategy is your website. Make sure it is dialed in and it is good. One of the tools that is in the link is what must have website elements. You know, and there's a lot of information in there about what we consider kind of those core website elements that are going to make sure that you've got a really strong message on your website that's going to help you convert. I think a lot of people, one of the big mistakes people make with websites is they don't focus their messaging on the customer. They focus their messaging on themselves, right? And our customers don't care about us. I mean, I hate to say it, but they care about themselves and what we as a business can do to help them get from where they are to where they want to be. How can we help them solve their problem to get what they want? That's all they care about. So your website is the next thing. I would say for a lot of businesses, email marketing is very, very low-hanging fruit as well, especially if you've been in business for quite a while and you've got a list of past customers. Keeping in consistent contact with your customers through email is one, it's very inexpensive. A lot of people say to me, hey, I can't stand email. I don't read emails. It doesn't matter. Email is still super effective. As long as you are sending out messages that have value, that are helping people, it will work for you. Even if people don't open every one of your emails, which they won't, they are still seeing you. It is still a touch and a reminder that you are there and you are here to help people. So I think email marketing is another one. Again, this is a very loaded question, so it would be really specific to your situation where it may differ a little bit. But email marketing is very low-hanging fruit. The other one that I think is really important that is low-hanging fruit for a lot of businesses is online reviews. Reviews are huge. Everybody looks at reviews. We all look at them. Every time I go to Amazon, I'm looking at the reviews before I buy the product. If I'm looking for a local contractor, what do? I search for local contractors. I look at the reviews that are in the Google search, and inevitably, usually the first person I call is the person that has the most reviews and the best reviews. So reviews are really, really important. With reviews, you just have to ask for them consistently. You have to ask consistently. You have to make it easy for people to leave reviews. So give them the link, tell them where you want them to go, and then you need to monitor your reviews and respond. One of the things that a lot of businesses don't do is respond to reviews. If you respond to positive and negative reviews, it will separate you from your competition, almost all of them. Okay, so I hope that helps. I'm not sure exactly where you're at, but those are typically your website is a great place to start. Then email marketing, have it in place, and make sure that you have a way to consistently ask for reviews and build those reviews, because that'll be really, really important for your business. Okay, so next question I've got in here is, what is the best email marketing tool? Yeah, Constant Contact, MailChimp, others. The best email marketing tool is the one that you will actually understand and use. Okay. Constant Contact is super popular. MailChimp is very popular. We use a company called Active Campaign. I'm not going to tell you they're the best. There's plenty of good ones out there. I just like Active Campaign. It makes sense to us. There's a lot of features and functionality there. With Active Campaign, if you do want to bring in and manage your CRM, your customer relationship management within Active Campaign, you can do that. MailerLite, I'm going to put this in the chat. MailerLite.com is another one. They have a really good free program. I think the most important thing with your email marketing is that it is going to fit your needs. I will tell you, there are all kinds of features out there with email marketing. 90% of them you won't use. Okay. It's the 10% that you use 80 or 90% of the time. You want to make sure that they make it easy for you to capture contact information from the web and import it right into your email marketing. You want to make sure that you can do automated messaging sequences. Okay, when you guys fill out your name and email address to get the Ask Me Anything docs, that goes right into our Active Campaign. And Active Campaign then it sends out the email messages that follow up from that. Okay, you want to make sure that your email marketing software can do that. Any of the ones I just mentioned, they all do it. Okay, so keep it simple. If you don't understand it, if you have a hard time understanding it and you are going to be the one managing it, then don't use that tool. Find one that you understand and use it. Again, the best one is the one that you're going to use, because too many people implement these things. They get into it, they don't understand it, and then they're like, oh, I'm just forget it. So keep it simple. Like I said, Constant Contact, MailChimp, Active Campaign, MailerLite. There's Get Response. There's Aweber. All of those are perfectly good and will meet the needs of 98% of people out there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Sheila was asking, is it impossible to copy the slide deck? Yes. I'll give you that link at the end and you guys can just go right there, sign up, and it'll get emailed to you. It will take me a little bit of time to get the recording up there, because it takes Zoom a bit to get that recording to me, but I'll get that updated and you guys will have all that information there. So the next question is from Donna. How often should you send emails to customers without being annoying? So, and then she asked, what are the best review sites? How often to send messages is going to depend on your target market. So there are people that send once a month. There are people that send a couple times a month, once a week. I'm on some email lists where they send daily or multiple times a day. Okay, that's a lot. But that's what I signed up for on that list, and the information is super relevant. So it really depends on your market, but I would we email once a week, and then we email a monthly newsletter. That's what works for us. You got to find that cadence. What I will tell you is, don't worry about people unsubscribing. Okay, if people unsubscribe, then they're not a good fit for you. So we don't care. We move on. We want people on our email list that want to be on there and see the value in it, and they like the information that they're getting. So I would tell you there's probably very few people that can get away with sending daily. I think you need to be really upfront with people when they're signing up for your list that this is what's going to happen. And, you give people that option. But I think between once a week to once a month. Once a month, I don't think is enough for most businesses, but it depends on what you're sending out too. You don't want to just send out an email to send out an email. We need to make sure that everything that we're sending out is of value to our audience. It's something that's going to help them. And again, they're not all going to open it, but you're staying in front of people. They can choose to delete it if they don't want it. No big deal. the next time you send something out, maybe that particular topic is going to resonate with them more, and you're going to get an open rate. I will tell you, with your email marketing, you're going to want to shoot for somewhere between 20 to 40% open rates. So 20 to 40% of the people that you send to will open the email. If you're in that range, you're doing just fine. I've had people say to me, oh man, I'm only getting 30% of the people to open. That's awesome. Okay, this is not, 10 years ago, you might have gotten 80%. That's not the way it is now. So 20 to 40% open rates is where you're going to want to shoot for. Best review sites for most businesses, Google is the first place that you want to get reviews, because that is where things are going to show up. So Google is the first place I would look, and your Google reviews, I'm going to share my screen with you guys one more time. So when somebody does a name search in Google, on the right-hand side here, this is the Google My Business page. Okay, if you haven't set up a Google My Business page and you are a local business, you absolutely need to do that. But the Google reviews are right here. So you can send people, if you click on this and click write a review, you can copy and paste this link. That is the link where you want to send people to leave a review for you on Google. Google is the first place I would start. Then depending on the business, there are niche specific sites. I mean, Yelp is pretty popular, TripAdvisor for certain niches. What else? What am I missing? Angie's List, Home Advisor, for local contracting type businesses. There are also niche specific sites, like for attorneys, Avvo, AVVO is another one. Doctors have Health Grades. So there are, depending on your niche, there may be niche specific sites that would make a lot of sense for you to focus on. But the first one I would focus on is Google. Facebook too. So Facebook reviews on your Facebook page is another one that I forgot there. Those are really the first two I would focus on to start getting volume. And then from there, if you want to start building up reviews on other niche sites, then you can start to add those to the mix. But Google is by far the most important one. Quick way to understand your clients. The fastest and the best way is to have conversations with your existing clients. And what I would say, not just your existing clients, but your best existing clients. The ones that do the most business with you, the ones that refer business to you, that is where I would start. In the link, there will be information about asking questions to existing clients to gain a better understanding of them. But you want to ask things like, what problem did they have that they were trying to solve before they reached out to you? How are they feeling? Where did they go to initially start their search? How did you help them? Right? What problem did you solve for them? What benefits have they realized in working with you? Those types of questions, you want to hone in on that. If you want to get into some of the more demographic stuff, you certainly can, age range, income, that type of stuff. Demographics, I think, are important. I don't think they are the most important. I think the psychographics, how they're feeling, is much more important. Because if you understand how people are feeling, you can then communicate in such a way that is going to really resonate with them. So I do think that is really important. But that's the best place to start, is talk to your existing clients. The other thing that you can do, there is so much information on the internet. There are forums, there are Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. You can go into all of those where your ideal clients are, which again is another reason why you need to understand who your ideal clients are, because then you can determine what Facebook groups they're in. But you can go into those groups and just see what's happening. What are people talking about? What kind of questions are they asking? Sometimes, you can even ask questions yourself to try and get more information from your ideal clients that are in those groups. Those are all great places to go to get information about your ideal clients and better understand them. Okay. Okay, so are any of these marketing emails free or for purchase? I'm assuming you're talking about email marketing software. MailerLite has a free program that is, I think it's up to 1,000 contacts. At least it used to be. All the rest of the email marketing software that I mentioned, Constant Contact, MailChimp, ActiveCampaign, they start at somewhere around $10 to $15 a month. Typically, the fees are based on how many contacts you have. So, most businesses that we talk to who have not been doing email marketing, they have less than 500 contacts. You're going to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 bucks. As your list grows and you start to get a much larger list, it's going to get more expensive, but it pales in comparison to the number of people that you have on the list and the business that you're going to generate from it. So $10 to $15 a month for less than 500 contacts is a really good deal. Believe me, you will easily get more than that from doing a good job of consistently keeping in contact with prospects and with customers via email. Okay, next question. How important is video to you? What tool do you use? How often? So to me, video, there's a lot of great things about video. Video content, if you're creating video content, one of the great things about video content is it can be repurposed. And so you can get a lot of mileage out of video content. If you're doing, whether you're doing live videos or you're shooting video and uploading it to YouTube, any video footage you can get transcribed and converted into written content, right? So you could take a video, create it into a blog post. And I'm going to put this in the chat. Rev.com is a service that does great transcriptions. It's not all that expensive. You could also go on to Fiverr. And if you just type in transcription service, Fiverr is a place where you can get a lot of people to transcribe as well. But you can transcribe video. You can pull the audio out and create audio files or podcast footage. You can break up video into smaller bite-sized chunks and use that for social media posts. So there is so much you can do with video if you're using it to create content. The other thing about video is it is a great way to connect. Somebody can see you, they can hear your voice. It's not better than face-to-face, right? But in the current environment, we're not meeting face-to-face with many people. So video is a close second, and it is a great way to connect with people. So, whether you're using video on the homepage of your website, right? Homepage of your website's a great place to use video. It is a place where I think you probably want to have a little bit more professional video done because it's more of a culture piece. It's a representation of your brand. But, a homepage video is a great place to talk about how you help people, the problems you solve, what makes you guys unique, and have a clear call to action. Quick video, 2-3 minutes. But then you can use video for, if you're selling products, I've seen, product intro videos. I've seen product demonstration or how-to videos. A while back, I bought a blower for our fireplace. And I get it. It's in a box. Of course, the instructions, it's a single page piece of instructions. Couldn't understand a damn thing about it. Went online, typed it in. Sure enough, there was a distributor that sells the stuff that had made a video. I watched a 3 or 4 minute video. I knew exactly how to install this thing. I was done. So that's a great way to use video. for people that are selling products. But from a content marketing standpoint, video is amazing if you feel comfortable doing it. It doesn't have to be difficult. I mean, the camera that I'm using right now is a Logitech C920. It's a webcam that's plugged into my computer. It works great for this type of stuff. Your smartphone, the cameras on smartphones now are amazing. They work great. So for quick how-to type videos, those types of things, it doesn't need to be difficult. Putting out video that's not perfect is better than not putting out video at all. You can also make your videos look much, much better, a little bit more professional by just getting an intro and an outro. Fiverr is a great place to do that. And it won't cost you more than, $15, $20. And that intro you can put in the front of your videos, just makes them look more professional. And then the outro is what comes on the back end of the video. So from a standpoint of, how often can you do it? What's comfortable? You need to make sure that you have enough time to do it. Right now we do Facebook Lives once a week. We do a Facebook Live. We started doing Facebook Lives at the beginning of this pandemic, and we're just going to keep doing it. One, I love doing it, and it's fun, but we are taking those Facebook Lives and repurposing into all the stuff that we just talked about. So video is awesome. I would highly recommend it. Let's see. Okay, so I got another question here from Donna about how do you know your open rate for emails? It will be in your email marketing software. So typically what will happen is when you send out an email, most email platforms will call that a campaign. So when I send out a campaign, the email marketing software is tracking that, and you should be able to go into a report for that campaign, and it will show you how many people opened that email. And then depending on how else you have it set up, sometimes you can track links. So if you have links in the email marketing software will tell you, hey, how many people clicked on the link? So there's a lot of different things you can do. And if you want to get even more in depth, you can. I would tell you, don't get into the weeds on this. You just want to have a general idea. Are people opening? Are they clicking links? That's the best place to start. You can get more sophisticated after you jump into it, but that will be in your email marketing software. Okay, so our audience is not growing in social media. There are a number of reasons why this could potentially be happening. One, I will tell you, social media in general, your organic reach, so how many people see your posts, your status updates naturally in their feed, that's organic reach, is very, very low at this point. So social media has very much become a pay to play game. So if you want people to see your content, in most cases, you need to pay. Okay, that's the reality of the world we live in. Now, there is one exception that I see right now, and that is video. Live video content, or just video that you're uploading, right? So the live Facebook videos that we do, the reach, so how many people see it, and then the engagement, how many people comment, how many people share, is 10 times minimum a regular status update for us. And it's live video is amazing if you are comfortable doing video. And I will tell you, the first few times I did it, I was a little bit uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the more comfortable you will get tons of reach and engagement, and you will start to build your audience from that. So if you can do live video, I would highly recommend it on Facebook. But even on LinkedIn, we're active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn Live is really difficult to get into. There are a bunch of people, they're more selective than Facebook. So if you want to do live video on LinkedIn, I would apply. Just know that it may take a while, but you can still upload video to LinkedIn, and uploaded videos to LinkedIn will perform better than written or audio content. The one thing with LinkedIn, you cannot upload a video that is more than 10 minutes. So if you want to upload video to LinkedIn, it needs to be less than 10 minutes. But video may be a way to really help you start growing your social media more. That's one place where I would start. The other thing that I would also just look at is, what type of engagement are you getting on your existing content, and compare that to your competitors. Go to your competitors, look at their social channels and see what's their engagement like. You don't have to be a fan of their pages. You can just pull them up, and it's publicly viewable. So look at it, because it may not be just you, right? But if you go to your competitors and they're getting better engagement than you are, that points to there's probably an issue with the type of content that you're posting that's not engaging people. So that's where I would start. So I hope that helps. Okay, so should we add all people we meet networking to our email list? What I would recommend you do, I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to ask people, you don't want to spam people. So, when you do meet people from a networking standpoint, my recommendation would be, if you want to add them to your list, that you just ask them, hey, this is what we do. We send out helpful information about this, once a week or twice a month. Would that be valuable to you? If it would, I'd be happy to add you to the list. And they'll tell you. And if they don't want to be on it, no problem. Move on. But I wouldn't add people automatically. I would only add people that have asked to get the information. And again, you can always tell people, it's like, hey, look, when you get this, you're going to be on the list. But you know what? If you reach a point where you don't want to be on this list anymore, you can unsubscribe. It's at the bottom of every email. My feelings aren't going to be hurt. No problem. So I would not add people automatically. I would make sure that they want to be on the list. So the next question is, how can we use personal stories without getting too personal? And I'm assuming what you mean by that is not divulge too much with your personal stories about you. I would just tell you, find personal stories that you do feel comfortable sharing and share those. I think the more you share, the more comfortable you'll get with it. No matter what you do, there are going to be trolls. Okay. There's going to be people online. I mean, I heard a hugely successful marketer talking in a podcast a couple of weeks ago about a YouTube video that they put together. It's actually a video that they are using for their ads. And they had people jump on commenting on these things saying, oh, this is stupid and blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? That's their best performing ad right now. So, there's always going to be naysayers. The sooner we can get to a place where we don't care what other people think and we just do what we need to do, the better off we're all going to be. I know that can be a little bit difficult for some people. It's easier for some than others, but the thicker our skin can get, I think the better off we are. So, I would just say, share the personal stories that you feel comfortable with. The ones that you don't feel comfortable with, don't worry about it, right? We all have plenty of personal stories that we can share. And to me, the more you can share with people, the more it shows you are human, and the more people are going to get to know you and really connect and engage. So share what you're comfortable with. But sharing is a good thing, because it's going to help people get to know you. So next question, when should we do podcasts? Wrote a book, 500 pages of original content on our blog. Yeah, that's a ton. I would tell you, whenever you are ready. Okay, so if you've got the time to do it, podcasts are a great way to connect with people. What I would recommend you do is going back to my video comment. There's like I'm going to be on a podcast this afternoon. It is on a Zoom call, and the guy is going to record it. We're going to do video. I don't know what he's going to do with it from there, but he's going to have video footage and he's going to have audio footage. What you choose to do from a podcast perspective is really going to depend on your target market. So, there with podcasts, people either do it's just them and they're just talking every episode. There's interview type shows, which can be really interesting and engaging. Interview shows can be a great way to build relationships with other people that you want to know, because you can invite them on the show, talk to them, add value to them, right? And so that can be really good. Or sometimes it's a combination of both, so because interview type podcasts, it does take some time, right? Because you've got to get people to interview. So I just think focusing on a topic that is going to be relevant and helpful for your ideal clients is what you want to do. Podcasts, again, they don't have to be difficult. So you do need podcast hosting. Okay, if you just type in podcast hosting, the one that we are going to use for our podcast is called Buzzsprout. I'll put that in the chat. I'm not going to tell you it's the best. It was just the one that made the most sense for us. But you need podcast hosting. Once you have podcast hosting, you just need to make sure you have a decent mic. And away you go. You can start doing it. But there's tons of resources out there. Buzzsprout actually has a ton of resources about getting started with the podcast that'll help you with that. But I would say as soon as you are ready, jump in with both feet and just do it. Creating content is really, really important for attracting your ideal clients and nurturing people through the customer journey, right? The customer journey is the journey I go through from the time I think about buying a product or service like yours to buying and then doing repeat and referral business. And content helps nurture people through that journey. Super, super important. What email software do you use? We use ActiveCampaign, which I'll put in here. ActiveCampaign.com. Okay, bear with me, guys. How often should we post on social media? As often as you can, and what's comfortable for you. I will tell you, if all you're doing, there's two different ways to use social media. One is for credibility. A lot of businesses that are just starting out, it's really going to be more for credibility. You're not going to build a huge following of 500,000 people in 2 weeks. Okay. So it's really more about, hey, I found out about your business. I went to your website. I liked what I saw. Oh, let me check out your Facebook page or your LinkedIn page. And when they go there, they see that the last post you had was from 6 months ago. That is not building credibility. So the first place that I tell people to start with social media is just from a content perspective, just to make sure that when people go there, they see that you're active, you're posting information that's valuable and helpful. That's what I call laying ground cover. If all you're doing is laying ground cover, you could get away with, a couple times a week, and that doesn't have to be super difficult. You could just be resharing content. On our social media channels, we publish our own content, but we reshare a lot of marketing content from other marketers because it's helpful for our prospects and our customers. Okay, so we don't care. We just want to share helpful information. But if all you're doing is just laying ground cover, a couple times a week is fine. If you can do it, Monday through Friday, I think that's even better. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot, and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. Now, from there, if you want to really start building a following and engage people, then you need to get into the social aspect of social media, which means you got to follow people, you got to comment, right? And that takes time. The only way to do that effectively is to take the time to comment on other people's posts, to share other people's comment. A great way to engage people on social media is mention them. So when you post on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can start typing in their name and their profile comes up. You click on it, guess what happens? When you do that, those people get notified that they were mentioned in a post. Oh, great. Let me go check that out. Tanya just mentioned me in a post. Cool. Let me check it out. And then I get engagement, right? Because when I'm mentioned, I'm going to go in there and go, hey, thanks so much for mentioning me, Tanya. Really appreciate it, blah, 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 blah. So that's the second step of social, is to really start building that following and that engagement. You have to get social, and that takes time. Takes somebody's time, somebody who knows your business. Usually it's going to be you or somebody that on your team that really knows your business, who can get in and start interacting with potential customers, referral partners, sharing their content, commenting on their posts. That's how you stay in front of people. Okay. Okay, so I have negative content, facts that show how I solve this problem on my website. Bar chart of incarceration rates. My solutions, behavioral health experts. Okay. What is the best way to show the solution to the problem? Honestly, I think it's just talking about it. You don't always have to. Statistics can be helpful, but showing how you solve the problem, there's all kinds of ways you can do it. Testimonials, if you can get them. We're talking about incarceration rates, so getting testimonials is a great way. But then just telling people what does success look like when they work with you. Just tell them straight out what that looks like. Then from there, your testimonials, your case studies, those types of things will help support what you're already telling them are the benefits. Okay. Oh, got it. Yeah, sorry guys, this is me. Okay, some of the stuff I was posting was not showing up in chat. That is my fault. Put some of that back in. Okay. So it should be back in there. Okay, so bear with me here. Yep, got it. Okay, you guys should be able to see that now. That was my fault. So can you provide a prioritized list of avenues to develop an advertising plan? So with that, I'm assuming that you're talking about paid online advertising, which in most cases, people are either going to start with Google ads or Facebook ads to start. You can certainly get involved in other paid channels if you want. But the first thing you need to understand, the first thing you need to have in any paid plan is you need to understand what your goals are. Are you trying to get immediate business, convert people to immediate business? Are you trying to build your email list, build leads that you can then nurture, right? You've got to understand what you want to accomplish, because that is one thing that is going to determine where you choose to place your ads. With Google ads, Google Ads is what marketers term, further down in the funnel. And what that means is people who search on Google, they're much further down the customer journey. They are ready to buy. Okay. When I search for best brown leather shoes, I'm looking for a pair of brown leather shoes, right? When I search for how to create a strong email marketing campaign, I'm a little further up. I'm not quite ready to buy there. With Google, you can target search terms that have very high buying intent, which means I am ready to buy. Okay. With Facebook and other social media advertising, it's typically further up the funnel. We're not going on social media looking to buy something. When we go on Google and we search, where can I buy the best brown leather shoes? I'm ready to buy. So typically social media, people are much further up the customer journey, up the funnel. And we need to have systems in place to nurture those people, right? So typically what you'll see on Facebook is people they may place ads. Just go on Facebook today, okay? And you'll see what people are doing. The other great thing about Facebook, okay, I'm posting this and I think everyone should be able to see it because it says everyone. Facebook ads library. Just Google Facebook ads library. And if you click on that, you can type in any company's name. If they are advertising on Facebook, you will be able to see all of their Facebook ad campaigns. So this is a great way for you to look at what your competitors are doing. Typically, you can see how long the campaign's been running. Typically, if somebody's been running a campaign for a long time, it's working. They're not just throwing money into something that doesn't work. So Facebook ads library is a great place to go to see what other people are doing, to get an idea of what you might want to do. But most of the ads on Facebook are driving people to they're either trying to get people to sign up for some type of masterclass or a webinar. They're giving away free content, but people have to opt in to get that content. And then from there, they're nurturing those people, whether it's, via email, or they may also be retargeting people. So with Facebook, with Google, you can retarget people. We've all seen this, right? You're looking for a new car and you went on to Chevy's website, and then the following day you were on a news site and you see a Chevy ad. That wasn't by chance. Chevy's retargeting you. Okay. They track the fact that you went to their website. They now know that they can retarget you wherever you go around the web. That's retargeting. So you got to know what your goal is. Then you can start to identify the channels that you're going to use to do that. And then you need to determine what you need to support that. What's the messaging going to be, and really outline that entire process of from beginning to end. What does this look like? Somebody opts into the ad. What do I want them to do? And then you go from there. With Google Ads, this can be pretty simple. For a lot of local businesses, it's, I click on the ad, I go to a landing page, and on that landing page, I either fill out my information or I call. Okay, so it can be pretty simple. Now, real quick, guys, since we're coming to the end, I want to do one thing and then I'll stay on. I've got a little bit of time, so I'm happy to stay on. But I do want to make sure that the people that need to jump ship can jump. So, guys, just go here. I'll post the slide deck and a lot of the other stuff we talked about. I'm going to copy and paste this into the chat. So if you want to get that, just click there. Right below the header image, there is a place for you to fill in your name and email address. Hit the button and you will automatically get the link and you'll be in good shape. Okay, so for those of you that do want to stay on, it looks like there's a few last minute questions and I'll stay on and get those taken care of. But for those that need to jump, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the time, and hopefully you guys got a lot out of it. Okay, so yeah, what type of context is best to share? Okay, hold on. How do you get people to listen and know about your podcast? So your email marketing list is one place, posting on social media, and the other one is being a guest on other people's podcasts. That is a huge one, because people that listen to podcasts listen to a lot of different podcasts. So you want to get on and be a guest on other people's podcasts that share your same audience. Podcasters do this all the time. It's no different than, artists collaborating together, right? You see, BB Rexa sings a song with Florida Georgia Line or whoever. I mean, we can all think of a gazillion different ways to do it. Musicians have been doing this for years. They don't do it because they're afraid, Florida Georgia Line is going to take BB Rex's audience. They're just giving each other exposure to each other's audience and gaining more. They're bringing in new listeners because of that. Podcasts are the same way. If I was going to start a podcast, that is one of the first things that I would do to really start getting exposure for my podcast, is be a guest on other people's podcasts. When they interview you, they're just going to talk about your show. What are you doing on your show? How's it going to help our listeners get other information and just get to know you? And so that's a great way to start to build listeners for your podcast. Be a guest, and then your existing channels, social and email marketing. What type of context is best to share in this crisis to sound empathetic? It depends on your market. I think there are a lot of people, I don't know, this is just my personal opinion, but initially when this whole thing started, there's a lot of people saying, hey, we're in this together, and we're here to help you. I don't know. I kind of feel like we've been at this long enough where saying we're in this together doesn't really mean a whole lot to me at this point. I think the way you can show people that you are here to help is by actually doing things or putting out content that is going to help those people. So look, this AMA is a perfect example. Okay, when this whole thing started, I was doing speaking fourscore once a month. All of a sudden, we couldn't do any of that. And I said to Score, hey, look, I can shift to Zoom. I'm happy to do the existing workshops. We're going to have to cut them down because they're 3 hours on a Zoom call is too long. So we shifted. We went to an hour and a half. They're smaller trainings. They're not as in-depth, but they're still adding a ton of value. But then I said, hey, let's do, I'm more than happy to do an Ask Me Anything call once a month, get people on. This is a great way to help people. We are all in this together, but this is impacting some of us more than others. It's impacting some of us much differently in different ways. And so, I think the best thing that you can do is to start putting information out, talk to your customers. Hey, how can I help you? Actively reaching out to customers, making calls just to say, hey, how are you doing? Don't have a business call, just have a call with another human being. How are you doing? How's your family doing? But to sound empathetic, when we talk about establishing empathy in the storytelling framework that we use, right? Because guides have authority and they have empathy, because guides have been where the hero is now, and they are where the hero wants to be. And, so establishing empathy is really as simple as just making empathetic statements. We understand what it's like to be confused with your marketing. We understand how frustrating it is to not have a marketing plan you can follow. Those types of things are empathetic statements that will help customers understand that you know how they're feeling based on where they currently are. And so all you're doing is bringing in statements of, hey, we know what it's like to have this problem. We know what it's like to feel this way. That's how you establish empathy within this crisis. Some companies have shifted their messaging entirely with this crisis. Others, I don't know that you need to do that. But I think you may need to, depending on the industry you're in, you may need to look at how you can bring in more COVID specific messaging. So for example, we have a client right now that does commercial cleaning. We just put their website together. We were in the middle of it when this whole thing hit. And, the messaging work that we did is still relevant. Their customers are still having the same problems with cleaners. But what we did was we put some very specific COVID messaging on their website at the top, a banner letting people know, hey, we've got COVID specific services. They have a COVID specific content section on their homepage, and then they have COVID specific services that they're calling out. So depending on what kind of industry you're in, your messaging may still be very relevant, but you may need to make little tweaks here and there to let people know how you're handling COVID. Or I'm going to the dentist tomorrow. Okay, how is my dentist handling COVID? They don't necessarily need to change their messaging per se, but I need to know what they're doing to handle COVID within their office. That type of thing is super important. Okay, yep, so Fiverr. So there was a question about MailerLite. It's MailerLite.com, and I'm putting this in. And then Fiverr is Fiverr.com. So I just put that in the chat. Cool. Okay, guys, it looks like that is all the questions. So I put the link in. If you guys want to get all the docs, just go to rialtomarketing.com/AMA. I will be doing these each month, so keep an eye on the SCORE calendar. I also am doing 2 workshops for SCORE. One is on messaging, so that messaging framework that I talked about, that I believe is the next one I'm doing, and I think I'm doing that next week or the week after. And then I'm also doing one specifically focused on websites and everything you need to know to create a great website. So keep an eye on this. Go to SCORE Denver, click on their calendar. You will see all of the upcoming ones, but the ones that I'm doing specifically will also be on there. And please feel free to jump on, and I'm happy to do what I can to help. So other than that, thank you guys for the time. Appreciate you spending the hour and 10 minutes with me. Hope you got a bunch out of it. And until next time, take care and stay safe. See ya.